Yo, yo, beautiful people. Welcome to Unbreakable Souls. I am Gene Williams, one of the hosts. Welcome to the stage and to the screen, my brother, Gary G. Newsom, Coach G.
What's
Well, we
up,
can't
my
we
man?
merge them together. What's
Well,
going
yeah,
on?
you
I was
forgot my
like,
name.
Gary G. I was like,
This is Coach G, everybody. I introduced myself. My brother
there we go.
forgot me
There
there
we
for
go.
a second.
No, I said Coach G and I said Coach Gary G. I was like, I just made
it's
it a whole
all
different
it's all one and the
thing.
same, brother. How
I
you
didn't
doing, man?
want to say. Man, pretty good, man. It's been a week, man. How about
Been
you?
a week. Been a week
Yeah,
too. Been a week too. And then, as we was talking about chewing on this topic, man, this one hits
ah,
home and is personal and hard, as it is, I know, for several men out there. So
right.
um lot to chew
Yeah,
on with this one, brother.
right.
So we're Unbreakable Souls, episode 10.
Dang,
You
man,
believe
that
that,
is
bro?
nuts. That is
We didn't
nuts.
hit double digits, bro. So episode 10, relationship trauma.
Oh
And
man,
man, you got any opening marks? Because I know all of us men out here deal with this. I know women talk about their stuff, but you know, it's time for the men to really get out and share their hearts and their pain. So,
right.
that's what Unbreakable
Yeah,
Souls is about.
yeah. This is definitely a heavy subject. There's a lot of vulnerability on it with you all because this is things that like you just said, we don't as men and definitely as men we don't talk about it, especially black men. We don't talk about it a
Yeah.
lot. Um, and the effects, you'll see. But it's just unfortunately part of relationships nowadays. But there's tools. We got tools to help you to work through the trauma that you've already experienced, and help you like navigate away from trauma in the future as much as possible, as much as is humanly possible.
Right. Well, let's jump in, man. I hear that. I mean, this one, I think we're kind of, it's cracking
Yeah,
me
like
up because we're
hesitant, like
both, but like we said last week, because last week was hard too, man. But, here we
right.
go. Here we go, bro. Let's just rip the
Mm.
band-aid off. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Just rip,
all right.
just rip it. Just rip it.
Yeah. Really.
So
Oh, all
let's
right.
jump right in. And I think the hardest one is, Unbreakable Souls, episode 10, relationship trauma. We've got some points that we want to hit with you guys today. But, number one, probably the hardest, betrayal and infidelity. And, that goes both ways.
Right.
There's men out there that have been betrayed by their loved one, and there's men who have been the one that was, that had the infidelity. So,
Right.
um, tough, tough, tough topic. And to be honest, I really believe in being honest on this show. I've been on both sides of that coin.
Yeah.
So I've been the one that's been betrayed, and I've been the one that was, had the infidelity. So um, I don't know. So today we
Yeah.
just really want to we really want to discuss, the emotional turmoil, the trust issues that come from that, the sense of loss that can result from experiencing betrayal or being unfaithful. I mean, people don't even think
Right.
that it's easy to be unfaithful. I think there's carnage left behind inside of you when
Right.
that's you that has done that. So we want to address the challenges of rebuilding trust and navigating the aftermath of these two traumas. So I don't know. I got
Yeah.
some things to say, but I want to open it up. What you got to say on that? Start out with.
Yeah. So I definitely have experienced the betrayal and the infidelity. Uh, you things are one way when they're in front of you, but things are different behind, around other people. Um, and unfortunately, I found out about I don't know how far the infidelity went, but I found out, because we had to share phones, and I found a text message from another person. And I'm like, so I brought it up to to this person, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Listen, let's not play games. You know, I know what's going on. Who is this person?" Uh, well, actually, it was more of a conversation of why is this only name abbreviated in your phone?
Oh, oh,
Yeah, and I'm like,
the old phone game, huh?
right,
Changing the
right,
names.
right. It's like as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Is this?" And the person was like, "No." I'm like, nah, nah, nah. you can't tell me because the person was surprised that I knew who it was, but that betrayal. Um, I don't know, man. It took our relationship to another level. Um, all these subjects we're going to talk about today, I've experienced in a few particular relationships,
Right, right.
unfortunately. Um,
But that's what makes your
but,
story today so authentic, brother. Because I'm
right,
probably 3 out of 5 myself, so I get it.
yeah,
And I
right,
got you
and
today, bro. You got me, and
yeah,
let's just do this thing.
right, yeah. I don't know, and it so the betrayal and the infidelity for me um, brought back up feelings of being unwanted, you know,
Mm,
from childhood trauma.
hmm
Not
Last
having
week.
my biological father around. Exactly right. So
Hmm.
everything's connected. Everything is connected in life.
Hmm.
So it just brought those feelings back up, and I don't want to get too uh, detailed or specific about about the situation, but I do want to say that as a person, I feel I'm quite mature, um, and realistically, the person that my former partner was being unfaithful with.
I
Like I
know
said,
that's hard.
I don't know how far it went. I mean, let's keep it a buck. Um, but I was like, okay, listen, I know that this is the person that you have been connected to since your youth, and you still obviously have some residual feelings. I want y'all to give y'all like 90 days. I'm gonna give y'all
Oh
90
wow.
days to figure out. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
give you 90 days to figure out what y'all want to do next, and then you come back to me and you let me know. So I would, we, Lord, still lived in the same. I'm trying not to say too much, but we lived in the same house, so it was like, I'm still, connected to this person, but it's like we are taking a break from our relationship to let her explore that one to see where it goes. I mean, I'm like this
Wow.
at the end.
That
At
that
the
was
end,
big
if
of
you
you,
want to
bro.
stay, if that's where you want to stay. As long as we split, you know, the time with the kids and things like that, I'm cool. I mean, it'll hurt, but you know, I've been through quite a bit in my life. I'll get over it. It'll hurt,
Right, right,
but
right.
I'll get over it.
Yeah, because
So
we ripped
yeah,
the band-aid off, so I get that, bro.
right. But
And those are wounds that don't heal quick. I mean,
nah,
they take time, lots of time.
right.
Because
Yeah,
kind of what you said, you add now a new wound to already existing wounds from childhood that we
right,
talked about last week with childhood trauma. So,
right,
um, that's some tough stuff, man.
right. Yeah, yeah. Definitely, and also, yeah, trust issues. I don't know why I didn't think of that first. It brings up trust issues. Um, and I don't know. I have my flip flop moments with trust. It's like I trust people to a certain point, and then it's like I'm to myself with everything else. So like,
Right.
I'm gonna give you a certain amount, but like let me think about that. That's just you know.
Well, see, I agree with that 100%, man, because I feel like that was my issue in all my situations because just like you, the childhood trauma, from my father, always searching
Hmm.
to be wanted, to be needed, to be accepted, to be seen, to
Right.
be heard. And I felt like I did all these good things and was never seen, never heard. And if I was seen or heard or um, acknowledged or appreciated, it was always from someone outside of the relationship.
Right.
That's been
Right.
my
So,
story. It's never been,
uh,
that's hard,
right.
man. You're trying to
Yeah.
be faithful and dialed into your relationship, and there's things that you need, especially when you communicate those things, that those
Right.
are things that you need. And the person knows your past traumas,
Right.
and how big of a deal that is. And you express those things to them clearly. And, their focus is more on the fact that there's outside people providing your need when why not look in the mirror and step up to the plate? Here's an opportunity for you. That's been my
Woo! Say that.
that's been my jam, man. That why
Yeah.
do we spend so much time and energy worrying about the outside when I don't I don't I don't want to hear from anyone else. You're my person.
Right.
I want to hear from you.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's
Right.
noise when someone tells me I'm handsome. It's
Yeah.
noise when someone speaks life into me and tells me great things about myself. When my
Right.
person is speaking those things on the regular to me. Now, when
Right.
that doesn't take place,
Right.
then the outside noise now is no longer
Right.
noise. Now that
Right.
noise is now relevant,
Right.
because it's fulfilling the need. So,
Right.
no excuses. We do what we do. Um, but like the first relationship I'm thinking of brought me to a place where, bro, I wanted to die.
Yeah.
Minister, man of God, business leader, coach, all this stuff, and I felt like I'd be a hypocrite if I got a divorce.
Mm.
But it brought me to a place where my only out was sitting on my knees with the 9 millimeter in my mouth, ready
Damn.
to take my life.
Right.
So, and then really my relationships have just built onto that from there. That wound has never healed.
Right.
The desire to be seen, to be heard by my person. I'm
Right.
always seen, heard, understood from outside people,
Right.
outside the relationship, which is, I mean, it's like the story of my life, bro.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's tough,
Definitely.
but I've seen so many people heal from those situations. As that's why I was kind of encouraged by what you were saying, the way you did that, because I think I've seen some relationships that have had infidelity and betrayal then become the most powerful relationships I think I've ever seen.
Right.
Some obviously end tragically and it's,
Right.
ugly and nasty, violent, whatever, but some have healed in a beautiful way. And those are the relationships that stand the test of time. Because, at
Right.
the end of the day, it was a need that wasn't met. And
Right.
yes, the person that was cheated on is hurting and is devastated. But the
Right.
person that did it, if they're a good person, I think people don't choose to do that. You just don't wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to cheat on my person. That
Right.
happens over time, that there's needs
Right.
that aren't being met and you just made the wrong choice. So I'm not
Right.
minimizing it by any means, but I just feel like it takes two people to get to that point. And yes, one
Right.
person acts because there's other choices, but that's still my thought. It takes two people to get there. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And going back to what you said about like being praised and being loved on by your partner, like yeah, like you said, I had the same situation. My partners, uh, at a certain point, stopped complimenting me. You know,
mm,
and it's like, but then we'll be upset because I'm also a model, and I have been since I was 14, I think. So modeling and things like that, that's just natural. So I post something of me modeling, and I get a certain reaction from people. Well, I mean,
right, right,
this is what I do before I knew you.
right,
So,
right, right,
um, but then it's like they stop, and you ask for that type of attention, like you said, and then now you're a narc. You're narcissistic because you want attention from people. Don't all people want attention? Isn't
right,
that why
right,
we're all here? Like, yes, I want attention, but I prefer it from you. Like, you know,
But but even in that, bro, why can't you make a post like that? Because that's one of the reasons I stopped posting pictures of myself, because the people I was with couldn't handle the comments that
right.
were voiced. But why can't it, like me, when I was doing it, I was in a bad state mentally, emotionally, physically. I lost 100 pounds. So I basically documented
Hmm.
the loss of that 100 pounds. So it wasn't about trying to get attention. It was telling a story of
Right,
victory, something that had conquered me, for a long time. And I walked my way out of something that was about to take my life.
right,
So that's what it was for me. And then the other people's perception, that's on them, man. I can't control
right,
what you
right,
think or feel. You think I'm doing that for my motive for, especially when you communicate that's communicated to me, and then I tell you, no, that's not my motive behind this. This is why I'm doing this.
right,
And that person still just dismisses that thought. I mean, like that, I've learned that I can't control your thoughts and your feelings.
right, right.
That's too
It's
much
not my
weight.
job. Right. That's not
Mm-mm.
my job. That's your job.
Right.
Coach G and Gene, along those same kind of lines, because I think I mentioned the last time we were on this show. What are your thoughts when people bring their past hurts into relationships? Because, like I said before, I've definitely seen some people that bring those past hurts and then they are thinking that you're doing the same thing that their exes used to do. Because, like I said, I remember an ex that I had that literally had been suppressed to some kind of interesting relationship dynamic. So whenever they would go into like even a car shop or something, they would automatically think that I'm looking at the attendant, and I might not have had the attendant on my mind at all
Come
because they
on.
had
Boy,
Come
serious
on.
insecurities going on and
Come
everything. So,
on.
just your thoughts about how sometimes people are still bring their past hurt into their new relationships.
right.
Well, I think
Yeah,
Mama answered the
right.
question right
Yeah,
there in the
exactly.
comments.
Insecurities.
Insecurity.
There we go. Exactly.
She answered the
Right.
question, but
Yeah.
because at our age, all the three of us at our age, if you enter into a new relationship, you are bringing baggage because you've been in
Right.
relationships before,
Right.
and this isn't fresh for you. So you've had
Right.
positive, negative experiences. So it's a choice when you enter the relationship. Are you going to punish? This is me. I'm not going to punish the person I'm with for what other
Right.
people did for me. That's not fair.
Right.
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 That's
At
not
all.
fair. But I'm going to stand my ground also, and I'm not going to allow you to punish me for what somebody else
Right.
did to you either.
Right.
No, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense because, like I said, I just remember, and this was decades ago when I was in one of those relationships. It got to the point where I was so devastated that it impacted me mentally and everything. And I remember
Right.
my
Yeah.
mom, who's now in her 80s, so she's probably in her 60s at that time, or maybe her 70s. And she was like, 'cause, yeah, she must have been in her 50s or 60s now, thinking about it. But I was literally looking at the ground because they had done such a psychological number on me that I was
Oh
going down.
man.
And she was sitting there
Wow.
going, like, Mark, why are you looking down on the ground? And I'm like, because I can't look
If
up
I
and
look
everything.
up, I'm looking at
A
somebody.
Wow.
psychological number on me.
Wow.
Right.
Man, that's tough, Mark. Been there, done
Yeah.
that, bro.
Yeah.
Been
I've
there, done that.
handled it too.
Where
Yeah.
you couldn't even get up and get out of bed every day.
Yep.
Right.
Got to get
And
out of
that and
bed.
that's why it's important for both people to get counseling. Get counseling individually, and then get couples counseling. I mean, I think that's like when you are in a relationship and you're serious about it, like you both need to unpack things. Like you say, you
Hmm.
bring trauma, regardless if you want to or not. You bring trauma into your current relationship from your past. That's just how it goes. Um, so again, like counseling is, man, just being able to have an unbiased ear
Come on,
to
bro.
help
Come on.
you take inventory of things that have transpired before, so that you don't, like you said, make someone suffer for something that someone else did to you.
Right, right.
And like you said, keeping those. Oh, she's about to say it. Something about boundaries.
About creating
Yeah,
boundaries.
yeah, right,
when you
exactly,
hold when
right.
you
There we
hold
go.
your frame and you don't
Right,
allow them to bring their past into your present and your couple as a couple, your future,
right,
that's a healthy boundary. And
right.
the other person should pivot and be like, okay, you know what, you're right, and I need to go
Exactly.
get some help. And I
Right,
think, especially people in our age group, counseling is maybe a great way to start a relationship. I'm just starting to think
right,
about that.
right. Yeah,
That, hey, let's go on a couple dates, but before, and if we're feeling each other, that
right.
maybe let's look into we're a month
Helping
into this
them.
and we're really feeling each other. Let's look into some counseling to address some
Right.
issues inside of each one of us. So these
Right.
aren't hindrances that hurt our relationship going forward.
In the future, exactly. Yeah, that's being preemptive, man. That's being preemptive.
Yep. What's Mark got?
I
You're
got to
muted,
teach
Mark.
you about something though, because sometimes when I think about counseling, I think about all these. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been part of them as well. These lovely new social groups that have popped up. We know that there are Facebook groups and meetup groups that are like 50 and single and all along those lines. And sometimes people are going into those groups thinking that they are getting another form of counseling or thinking that they are hookup sites. Because I've definitely seen them
Right.
exist. I know you've seen them
Right.
too, and that's not the kind of counseling that y'all are talking about. Because it's
No,
counseling
no,
from your associates is
no.
not the kind of counseling that y'all are talking about.
That's the blind leading the blind. That's hurt. There's so many of
Right.
these pages out here that
Right.
say these different things about men and say these different things about women, and it's just
Right.
wounded people perpetuate. I mean, just
Right.
expanding the pain. It's sad.
Perpetuating. Yep.
Right. I know I couldn't get the word
Yep.
out.
I know what you were talking about though. Perpetuating. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man.
So
Yeah. Someone who's licensed.
someone who's licensed, yeah. So actually,
Right.
bro, I started in October into November, starting studying relationships, and I think the two most prevalent that I noticed is relationship types would be transactional and relational. A
Right.
transactional person, no, this your
Right.
boy coming at
Right.
you. A
Right. Right.
transactional
Right.
relationship is like, so if you needed $100 and I had money, I gave you the $100 because you asked for it. A transactional person is looking
Right.
for a rate of return.
Right. Right.
They're
Exactly. Return on
expecting that
investment.
$100 back. Yeah, something down on their investment. If they're giving their time, their love, their affection, money, whatever it is, they're expecting a return on their investment. They're never giving just for the sake of giving in
Right.
anything. Okay. It's like a business transaction, basically.
Right.
Okay. That they can pull you out of. This was the pain part, that they can pull you out of that space and interject someone else. That's
Right.
connected you are to that. But the other one is relational. Now, a relational person in the same scenario, you needed $100. If I got the $100, I'm gonna give you the
You got
$100.
it.
Hmm.
Right.
There's nothing. Hey, we ain't even having a conversation about pay me back.
Right.
So if you asked me for $100, you were obviously in need. So why do I create an even deeper need in saying, hey, here's this hundred
Right.
dollars, but I need you to pay me back in 2 weeks? No, the
Right.
relational person does every act out of love.
Right.
I love this
No
person.
ifs, ands, or
So,
buts, as the old expression goes. No ifs, ands, or buts. But
right.
It's about
Coach G, you got some people out there, including some relationship ones, and I know that we all know them, but even though we're in different parts of the country, that will
Mark lit up
have
on
them
this
those
one.
relationships that are kind of like a give and take. Yeah, I'll give you the $100 if you give me
yeah, give
that
me some love.
backside.
Yeah.
You know,
Right, right,
I'm
right,
just want you to like me and
right.
everything. So you got some people out there that are dogs in that kind of way. So they'll be like, "Yeah, I'll give you that loan of $100, but you got to give me this in return and everything." And it's not
Right.
just men that do it; it's women that
Right,
will play
right.
that
It's
game
both
Oh,
sides.
women,
as
yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Both
dysfunctional
sides.
relationship that we always talking about. A
Mhm.
relationship is 50-50. If you have
And
a
it's
relationship,
conditional.
right, if you have a 50-50 or conditional relationship, that's dysfunctional and it's destined to fail. It's got to
Yep.
be 100. I got to be sold out, withholding nothing, giving all of myself, and
Right.
my partner doing the same. And me doing
Right.
that as the man, we should lead. In my opinion, we should lead. We
Right.
should lead in vulnerability. We should lead in sharing our heart and our feelings and our
Right.
emotions and all that, so that our woman feels safe.
No, definitely.
Right.
I'm gonna let y'all get back to the talk point, but I do have one quick question based on the event that we had here at the center, which is why I'm still at the center and everything. But Coach G, and this is for you too, Gene. How much do you think it is in relationships that is important for people to be like-minded? Like the conference we were having today with people that were all into horticulture and gardening. I ain't got no green thumb, so I'm not gonna be you picking it up in the garden or anything along those lines. But you do have some folks that want to be picking up people that are like-minded and have the same hobbies. I sometimes think it's good if y'all have different hobbies and even different interests and everything. But I just wanted your take on that because sometimes you got people that want to be like, I'm in the gardening, so he got to be in the gardening or she got to be in the gardening or whatever the
Right.
relationship might be. But I just wanted your take on that because this was about African Americans in the horticulture and gardening space that we were doing here
Mm.
today and everything. But I know I didn't see that many couples, but there were probably some people that were in that whole couple space. I got to have a green thumb. Like I said, that would not be
Right.
me. I have no green
Jump
thumb.
on that, Gene. Jump on that one,
Yeah.
Gene.
So what I would say for that situation is that it's a little bit of both. You know, have some interests in common and have interests that are different, so that both of you can grow. Maybe you can learn to love. You may not be in the horticulture, but you get with this person and you may fall in love with it. You know, and now you got another skill.
Right.
You know, and also and they learn from you, so they have a you have a skill that they don't have, and they learn from you, and you just help each other grow. You elevate each other.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
I like that answer.
So
That makes sense.
I think a relationship should be iron sharpening iron. And I think
Yeah.
from a biblical perspective, that's always been brother on brother or sister on sister. But why can't that be in a relationship, a romantic relationship, that we sharpen each other, that our
Right.
differences are what make each of us better?
Right.
Um, a king, we call ourselves king. Um, Man, this one of my friends told me this. She told me, she just looked me dead in my eye and she said, "You are a king." And you're dating all these different people, interested, these you've had these different relationships, but when are you going to find a king maker? And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And
Mhm.
she took me to the board of chess and she was, just explaining that, the different pieces on the chessboard. And she was
Right.
like, basically, the queen maker lifts the king, uplifts,
Mhm.
protects, guards, speaks into
Right.
his life, provides, elevates him, pushes his goals, pushes his dreams. Not to a degree, I'm saying that, that the woman is discounts her own things, but she does that with an understanding that if I get the king to the level that he needs to get to, I'm his queen. So since he is king, now I have access to the entire kingdom.
Thy kingdom. Right.
Whatever is his is now mine,
Right.
simply because I lifted him, I served him, I honored him, I respected him. And then a good king reciprocates and
Right.
provides and meets every need that queen has. That's the kind of relationship I want, bro.
That's what I'm looking for as well. But I had to laugh because I had some friends of mine, and I think they're in a relationship and everything, but I'm not 100% sure. But one of the things that I was laughing at was I noticed that the gentleman was claiming her as his queen, and I was getting a little bit of resistance from the young lady. So I don't think that she was claiming as much as he was claiming because he even made it in a public environment. Like that's my queen, and the feeling that I was getting from watching her body chemistry was that she was not ready to make that proclaim that
Distinction.
proclamation and
Well,
everything. So I don't know if y'all have ever been
it's
in that
it's
situation
old
where
school.
somebody might be able to
Yeah.
one and
That's
proclaim it
my
more
woman.
quicker than the other one
Yeah,
does.
yeah, that's old school though. That's an old
Yeah.
school
That's my
G.
woman. Right. That's my woman right there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's good. Man, you got anything else on this one? I mean, that's a lot. And
Yeah, that was quite a bit. We can move on to the next topic.
okay. So yeah. So I want to end it with, you got to do what's best with you for you and your relationship. If you feel the relationship can be rebuilt and trust can be reestablished, then it takes both to make that step to move forward into that. Then take that step. But if you feel like you're going to be the only one doing the work, then you got to let go and take care of self and move forward. So,
Right.
but this next one is hard too, bro.
Oh yeah.
Emotional and verbal abuse. The point of our show today is to shed light on the often overlooked forms of relationship trauma, especially for men, such as emotional and verbal abuse. I mean, society doesn't think this happens, but it
Right.
does. But it deeply affects men. We've got to do a better job of discussing the long-term effects of demeaning language, manipulation, and psychological control. We got to explore the barriers that prevent men from recognizing and seeking help for this type of trauma. Because number one, our society that we live in doesn't even think it exists.
Right.
It's just us doing that to the women, but it doesn't come back.
Right.
What
Right.
you got to say?
Man. Yeah. So again, I've experienced both of those, the emotional and verbal abuse. Um, you know, anytime, and the manipulation, and you know, just anytime things don't go the person's way, then it's you know, they withdraw and are distant or snarky or even further into the next point,
Right.
the next point we're on. Um, but yeah, just the damage that it creates, it can either turn a person to where they either go to the far side, as in like they're just on edge at all times, which is never a good thing, or
No.
they're completely passive and withdrawn and just allow themselves to become a punching bag.
Hmm.
Neither are good for either partner really.
Worst
And if
sides of the
they're
spectrum.
right, exactly. Let's find some space in the middle.
That space in the middle. Hey, speaking of that space in the middle and everything, the part of the problem that I don't know what y'all thought about, but y'all were talking, I was thinking to myself that because of the way society treats men, and particularly minority men, African American men, I would even argue some of our Latin American brothers as
Hmm.
well, and everything, that there is this notion that I ain't gonna get played by no woman anyway. No way she gonna play me, and all along those lines. And there is a fear of letting your emotions be realized, and realize that you are being emotionally hurt and that they are playing you. Because a lot of times, women, I mean,
Yeah,
particularly guys, will try to get that "I'm tough, ain't no woman gonna play me" kind of attitude
right.
and everything. So, I just wanted y'all's take on that because you are very real. I've been very transparent. I've been emotionally abused. I know others have been emotionally abused, but if you ask, they will tell you that dang, that ain't never happened to me. No way that
Right.
nobody ever ran
Yeah,
that game on me. I'm too tough for that. And
Yeah.
it's different generations. There's everybody from those in there. I'd argue even my dad's generation in their 80s and everything down to like the teens and the 20 somethings. But he's got that toughness mindset and everything. So I just wanted y'all's take on that because I know a lot of times people will be like, "I ain't no woman gonna play me."
yeah. That's what you say. So you open your heart, to one. I mean, all depends. Like generally, a person who says things like that have been around or seen men who are quote unquote cold hearted, where they don't let anyone get too close.
Right.
So everything is like you said, transactional. I deal with you in a certain space, but I'm not about to let you in. Nah, nah, nah. So yeah, in that space,
Yeah.
easy. Right, keep them at an arm's length. But if you allow them in, which is we're all water, so you cancer too, right, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we all water signs. So we love the intimacy and the emotionality of a relationship. So we're prone to invite people in, and then that's when it goes down. It's like
Hmm.
you allow yourself to ignore the first one. It's like the red flag comes up. Nah, maybe she was just and start coming up more, and it's like, wait a minute now, we done started a vicious cycle,
Right.
and it starts off with a little attitude because they can't get their way, and then it's a little smart a little smart word here, and now they're using either going on, yeah, or being withdrawn all the time to pull you back into it. And and the real narcs will do both. They'll go off on you and then ghost you. And it's like you have your emotions all over the place. But I just want to love you. I just want to love you.
Yeah, but Gene, you got folks like that. You got the other folks that and try to. I think I brought this up before and everything, but I don't remember y'all's answer. But you have folks that will automatically want to stick you in that quote unquote friend zone, and sometimes you don't want to be in that friend zone. Sometimes you want to be in that relationship zone, but they sit there going like, "Nah, you can only be a friend because maybe they got other uh destinations or other goals that they've got in their mind in the relationship space, but they want to keep you around for the friendship and the security of the friendship. And sometimes there are some women out there that want to keep you around as a friend because they want you to be the backup play, for lack of a better term, and everything.
Mm,
I always wonder about that, man. I'm starting to wonder, in situations like that, do they keep you because they're lonely? You know,
Mhm.
it's familiar, and they say they want to break up or they don't want to be together with you anymore, but is really the only motivation for that they're lonely. Especially when I talked about a transactional person
Mhm.
that can
right.
easily pull you out and put somebody into that place. So you're
Right.
just a cog in the wheel, you know.
Hey,
So
let's get very real, Coach G. Men are not the only ones that keep people in their pocket for the booty call. The booty call is real for women
Right.
as well. There are
Oh
women that
yeah.
will have you as a booty call. Let's just be very real.
Right.
there's my
Right.
boy Mark taking us from G
Right.
to X again.
Eggs. 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 And listen, as long as
I
so,
love
it's
it. I
all
love
okay.
it.
Since we
I
keep it
love
at a
it.
buck, then I would say in a situation like that, you know now what she wants. So you decide from that point, do I want to keep it, just transactional, with friends with benefits, or am I looking for something? And since she can't provide it for you, then you know you make a pivot.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
nothing is wrong with having a little, little friend on the side, a little friends with benefits. We all grown around here.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I can't roll with that. After I got
I mean, I
divorced,
got you.
I had a little bit of that action, but I'm the relational guy. So,
Right,
if I'm
Oh,
into that, especially, intimately like that, I'm vested now.
right,
And I just learned that I just can't do that. I know some guys can do that and
yeah.
roll with the
right,
punches. That's just not my
Coach
MO,
G,
man.
that's why I'm with you because I know some friends and I know some people, and I'll be very transparent and everything. But I got some friends that are into the swinging space, but I cannot go down in that space because I know that emotions are very real, and if you get involved with a
Very
woman, you are getting involved with her emotions, her spirit, and a lot of other things as well.
soul
So
tie.
if you got multiple partners, then that's a whole lot of soul dancing that you got to do. That is a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that you are carrying into your own body that can wreck a
Right.
body.
Right. And people don't
right,
realize the soul ties that are created in that.
Right.
And, I probably do more talking,
Mhm.
maybe in space or on Facebook Messenger, whatever. I do more of that than I actually do real action stuff. That I just can't do, man. I mean,
right.
been there, done that, and that wasn't my game, my thing. So I just can't roll that way.
Got you. Yep. And that's the beauty of it all. We're all unique.
Yeah.
We all have, and that's again, that's self knowledge. You're aware that your thing is, I want to be in a relationship, and that's dope. That's why I got into the initial relationship I was in because I was like, yeah, this that's all right, but that's actually quite lonely. Um,
Right.
I'd rather be married, and I did, and
That's my thing.
17 years at a time.
There it is right there, bro. I wasn't built to date.
Mm-mm.
I
Right,
wasn't built to date. And I want to be married. I want a kingdom wife, man. I want to pour everything I have, everything of Gary Newsom into one person for the
right,
rest of my life. I don't want to be out here chasing women. That's not my thing.
right. I feel you on that.
I can definitely feel you on that, but you got some people that will say that the kingdom wife is harder to get the older you get and everything because some people be like you only got but so much time to live here on life and everything in that space, but God is very mysterious and everything because what I did tell you all about the gardening symposium is there was a woman, Miss Fennell I believe was her name, and they celebrate
Uh-oh.
her because she's in the garden. But Gene, you're gonna love this woman lived to be and is still living, that's right, she was in the room in the house today. She was born in 1912. She's 111 years old. It's like this
What?
111-year-old woman was in the house today. So we had a
That is
111-year-old
dope.
woman and still walking around, still very cognizant. I went over there and talked to her briefly, still very much aware of where she's at. And I won't be surprised if she don't have another 30 or 40 years in her, the way she was talking and everything. But she is
That's
111 years old. Matter of fact, they gave her a proclamation
wow.
here in Durham because like I said, she was born 1912. So that tells me that she still got another birthday coming up because 112 would be later on this year. So they said she's
Right.
111. So yeah, they can hit 112. That's going to be coming up later on in this space and everything.
That's
That's pretty
awesome.
dope.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I would ask her so much, like, what did you eat?
But
How'd you live your life? Like, I want to know how to get there and be healthy, and have my right mind.
yep.
So
And
yeah, that's
this woman
dope.
has seen some stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Is she in the South?
I mean,
She's witnessed some stuff, man.
Oh yeah. She's definitely
mhm.
And
with some
talking
stuff.
about God's hands being all over her, keeping her safe in situations. Woo! I can only imagine the
Yeah,
stories that she's got.
Stories
man.
galore and the people she's seen and all along those lines. So it's just amazing. But yeah, like I said, I know another friend of mine's mother who passed not that long ago. I think she made it up to 106 or 108. But
Man,
and like I said, a
yeah,
lot of times it's that what y'all talk about oftentimes on this show is that mindset. So having that
Hmm.
positive
right.
mindset and believing that you can live that long. And I'm sure that in some ways, because they said she was in the gardening space since she was in her uh, young age. So even that kind of
Mhm.
awareness and mindset awareness, which I know you talk about, Gene, is probably part of the reason that she's also lived so long and doesn't look
Right.
like she's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, and she probably grew
Yeah.
her own food for the most part, which is so much better than buying food from the grocery
Right.
store.
Right.
That's awesome. No, probably very little, if any, processed foods. Yeah, that's. I want to meet her. She's
Yeah.
my hero.
But I feel like that. I know we're a little bit off topic, but I feel like that's something we've lost in our generation of people. In our race of
Yeah,
people is that's how we used to live, and we ate clean, and now look at what we do.
Oh yeah.
right.
Well, I know we're going to get back on topic, but the other thing that they talked about just really briefly was the loss of land and how that's impacting us too, because a lot of us
Oh,
are not keeping that land and keeping that land in our families and all
right,
Families,
in
right.
that
right.
space, and that can even be
It's
even
generational
with
wealth.
the part of what we are talking about, which is the male bonding, because a lot of times us as men don't always write down what we want to happen in the next generation and with the people that'll be
Mhm.
um, the folks that will be following in our footsteps and all along those lines. So a lot of times we are thinking that we are invincible, just like we think we're
Hmm.
invincible in relationships. So we're thinking we're
Right.
invincible and don't have a plan of action. If there's no plan of action, then that's where we get caught up in these troubles where the land is gone and we don't have it anymore and everything. So
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
If you
that was
got
a
some
tough.
land, keep it in your family. Keep it
mhm.
in your family. Pay all
Yeah.
your taxes, pay everything else that you need to, and have multiple houses. That is the way to go. Because real estate is always going to be a thing,
Hmm.
regardless. And the land is more important than the building that you built on it. Just know
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. So many of us have been swindled out of that land. I mean, it makes me think of a story from my grandfather that makes me so angry every time I think about it. And I was just telling the story, I think, earlier today, but and how he's a sharecropper and worked 40 years for some, not just a small parcel of land, but a pretty good sized parcel of land that he had farmed and got swindled out of it, got moved to a smaller parcel, much smaller house, barns, everything. And I just watched the life fall out of him after
Yeah.
that. And it was just hard to watch that. So,
One of my coworkers, coming back to our topic, one of my coworkers was talking about a book they read. It's actually another lecture here at the center not that long ago. It was about Secret Life of Church Women, I think, or something like that was the title of the book. But they were talking about this notion of how some of our ancestors would, and sometimes this it comes back to relationship conversations, would keep the secret and not want to tell the tales and everything. Because one person was
Right.
talking about how in this particular book, and I don't remember the exact title of the book, but it was talking about how there was a person that was the pastor of the church, but he was also having an affair with this person's
Oh
mother,
yeah.
which dictated kind of
Right.
their
oh, wow.
attitude toward relationships and everything. Because when
Mhm.
they heard them getting, and yes, I'm about to get X-rated again, when they heard them getting kind of intimate and everything, they'd also heard them start screaming out the name of Jesus and some of the other people in that space. So then that's what they associated God with and all
Oh,
along those lines. So my question is, how much of do we sometimes want to, because I know historically speaking, there was a lot of that stuff going on, but it wasn't talked
Oh
about as
yeah.
much because it was, they kept it quiet and everything
Right.
in that space. So even in the but even before I was born, let's say the 30s and 40s and 50s, there's probably some of that extracurricular stuff going on.
Oh
But,
yeah.
the neighborhood might have known, and maybe even the church family knew, but they knew
Right.
better to uh, spread the
And the
gossip.
brand.
We can sometimes
Right.
be
Right.
very quick to tell all our tales, including some of the tales that we
Right.
don't need to tell and everything.
Right.
So I just wonder your take when we think about relationships, because sometimes we are
yeah.
so excited about the relationships that we want to make a brand proclamation about it. Sometimes even telling intimate details that we don't need to be telling, because then you might be creating some rivalries that people want to see. Well, if it's that good, I need to get a piece of it myself.
Right, right.
Um, yeah. Yeah. It's always a good practice to keep as much information to yourself as possible. Now, I mean, there's nothing wrong with declaring that this is my partner, this is my love, this is my wife, my queen, whatever you want to call her. But the rest of it, man, hey, keep your mouth shut.
bro. You
People,
know what?
people, people yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say people are notorious for trying to use things against you.
Right,
So, you got to watch your crowd and watch your mouth. Keep your mouth
Hmm.
closed on most things.
man. I am valuing privacy.
Yes,
Hmm.
I'm learning that the hard way. I'm valuing privacy and the security. I think people want acknowledgement, like for Facebook. What's the thing called Facebook? What we're Facebook official. What is that, man?
Facebook verified.
what is it?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, so you're verified to people that, at the end of the day, don't even know you, don't even care about your
Right.
relationship in the first place. So why is that even
Oh, you
relevant or
talking
even
about the
important? I'm
you
sorry.
talking about the meta sign, the
Yeah,
meta
just
symbol or something like that?
how people are so, oh, we're Facebook. You put in there
Right.
on Facebook that you're in a relationship with so and so,
Oh
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah. I
that
got
makes the relationship solid now. And I just
it
laugh at
makes it
that stuff.
official because no, but that's what I'm saying, Coach. Is you put it out there, then the rival or some of the people that are less than scrupulous, they're gonna be like, well, if it's that solid, I'm gonna test the solidness, and they're gonna
Right?
try to do
Did
a
you
lot of
become a
other stuff. So
target?
you
Right.
made yourself a target in other words, right?
Right.
Because you
Yep.
put on there that I am in relationship with Sally Sue. I'm just pulling the name out of my
Right. Right.
hair and everything. If I'm in a relationship with Sally Sue, then Joe Blow has been thinking that he wanted to crack at Sally Sue. He's gonna be like, well, I don't care. I'm gonna go give my crack at Sally Sue.
Right.
What happened to the days that we just value you and me?
Right.
Right.
When we didn't have Facebook and we didn't have all the social media, and people just valued their relationship. They didn't care if anybody else knew. We know. We are
Right.
enjoying ourselves, so that's all they need to know.
Right. I agree with that. And a lot of it though they were doing the churches, walking in. Oh God, that. You know, I mean that was social media of the time.
Right. Right. Right.
Church in the
The gossip.
workhouse.
Yep.
You're
Gossip
right.
house.
Thank you. The gossip mill. Yeah, there we go.
Gene, you're a musician, and I love your music. You're an amazing musician, and everything. But I
Appreciate
have
you,
to tell
brother.
you, and I think I've shared this story with you before, and y'all know that I do podcasting, but I also used to do DJing and will still occasionally do it. Not so much club DJing, but radio DJing. And there was a time that when I was in relationships, because even my own mother and my dad, and I think even my friends' circle knew this and everything. They could tell how the relationship was going because
The
there
music
was
you
too
playing.
much of the dictating of the nature of the relationship by the song that I was playing. So I got away from that later. So like it was, it was going real good because of the blues. So it was going really good that I might play a lot of, I love you dear
Oh,
kind of blues songs and everything.
right.
But it would go really bad. I might be like, I can't stand you. And then you really get off my nerve kind of blues songs and everything. And later on, after
That's
realizing
funny.
what I was doing, I started mixing it up. So even if I was in a bad mood, I might play some good songs. And then if I was in a good
Right.
mood, I might play some
Yeah.
bad mood songs. But no, I'm not
Right.
gonna lie. There was times that I literally was dictating what was going on in the relationship. If you play close enough attention to what was being played, you'd be like, "Yeah, Mark must have had a good day that day. That's a whole lot of
Right.
Gotta
get
have
my
that poker
drag on
face.
music."
Gotta have that poker face. Wow.
Man.
Well, yeah, man. Let's jump back in here. You got anything else on emotional and verbal abuse? That one's tough and painful.
Oh yeah.
We just got to break down. That's the point of the show today. We've got to break down those barriers that prevent men from recognizing and seeking help for that specific piece of trauma, because it's relevant to us too. We go through emotional and verbal abuse too.
Oh yeah.
Um, but
And
our
this
next
and
one,
this next one too.
go ahead. You want me to start it?
No, I'm
Because I know.
saying
Okay.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, intimate partner violence.
Mm,
And society would say this is not, men, intimate partner
Right.
violence. But we want to discuss the challenges men face in acknowledging and seeking support for physical and sexual abuse from partners. That's right. I said it. Men, we need to acknowledge and support that men have been physically and sexually abused from partners. We want to
Right.
highlight the importance of creating a safe space for men to share their experiences. That's the whole point of the show. We want men to be
Right.
able to understand this is a safe place for you to experience, to share that story and access resources for recovery because it is real.
So,
Right.
Coach G, just really quickly, because I'm going to play the role of devil's advocate and everything in this space and everything. So, those that are watching and they're thinking to themselves, I get it. A man being physically forceful on a woman, that is kind of the nature of most sexual acts and everything along those lines. But what if, for those that are watching and listening, is a form of sexual violence from a woman to a man? Because you're gonna have the man out there, particularly the tough man, that's gonna be like, "Ain't no woman gonna force me to do nothing that I don't want to do, and I can't get it." Well, I started to use the word, but I can't get it if I don't want to get it, and everything along those lines. So you're gonna have people that
Here
are
you go,
gonna say,
taking it. He taking it to X again.
"Yeah,
Gene, you want to take that one?
I pulled back, but you got what I'm asking, because I'm sure people are watching, even on Pod TV right now, and they're going like, "There's no way that that is physically possible." So explain to the folks how it is physically possible.
I'm gonna let Gene
I'm gonna let
address
you
that one
take that,
first.
coach. I'm gonna let you take that. The sexual part, I'm gonna let you have that one.
Okay. I'm just thinking of scenarios where the woman is more the power person in the relationship, and maybe there's
Um,
things that that man needs, that the woman is assisting with, and the only way it's provided to him is if he does this or that. Um, I haven't personally experienced
yeah,
that type of situation in my life, but I do know people that I've talked to that have, that wanted out of the relationship, and these are men that wanted out of a relationship, but felt just like women felt weak and powerless and ashamed and embarrassed, the same emotions.
Mhm.
And then there are physical differences sometimes where the woman is physically stronger or bigger than the man, and are, they are being dominated by their woman. They are being slapped around, and um, a different spin on that is, I'm thinking of one that, a woman that has had trauma, and her way of expressing herself is physical, where she's a hitter, she's a slapper, she punches, she kicks, and then that man trying to be a good man doesn't want to reciprocate that, and doesn't want to hit her back, doesn't want to slap her back, doesn't want to punch her back.
So,
I'm not.
if
I'm
I'm
not
hearing
one to
you right,
put.
Coach G, would this be an example? Because I'm going to be very transparent, because it happened to me in my life, and it wasn't that long ago, maybe about 10 years ago. So, if you are sharing a bed and the person kicks you out of the bed, maybe even in the same room, and you are then like on the floor on the mattress and everything, that could be a form of physical abuse. Because I know that I was in that situation. The relationship was going south and uh, in that direction. So, literally, they put me, that old expression of being on the couch, and I didn't even get the couch. I think I got a floor. Might have even got a
Mhm.
mat on the floor and everything. So
Yeah,
that would be a form of physical abuse if you think about it, and all
right.
along those
Or
lines. So,
that's withholding,
hmm
right.
withholding the goods, because that's manipulative. Their whole purpose is then to control you.
hmm
Right.
So that's sexual abuse,
Yeah.
mental
yeah,
abuse.
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree with you on that.
And
And
definitely
sometimes you got to
same with
do, you love this, Gene. Sometimes you just got to walk this way, and you got to walk away, because that's literally what I did. I got up one day and I said, I don't have to put up with this. And I literally knew which way because y'all know, because I don't hide it, that I get around by mass transit. I knew which way the bus was. I knew which way they were going to work. I grabbed my stuff, didn't even grab all my stuff, but I hit the trail running and never looked back.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes you got to leave like that, Mark. It's just
right.
stuff. At the end of the day,
Right.
sometimes people endure more abuse because the abuser holds on to the stuff
hmm
to
Right.
continue to manipulate you. Sometimes it's just better. Hey, keep it.
Yep. Right.
I can buy
Right.
a new couch. I can buy a new pair of jeans. I think that's my favorite jacket, but I'll buy another one.
Right. Yeah.
Clean break.
Yeah. 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 And so going back to now, going back to the physical violence, it's chaotic that even sometimes if you were to call the cops after a woman's put her hands on you, they'll laugh at you. Like
Right.
a woman beat you up. Like, I mean, it wasn't like she beat me up. She's been hitting me. I don't want to hit her back. They take it as like whatever. Man up. But no, like when a woman hits, slaps, chokes, punches, that's abuse, and it should
It's
be
abuse.
and it should be called that very thing. If a man does it, it's abuse.
Yeah, it's a
Why is it
domestic
different with a
violence
woman?
charge. Right.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So let's keep it an equal field. You put your hands on me, it's abuse. I put my hands on you, it's abuse. So let's not make this what's my favorite term? um, make sure we have equanimity, in the situation. It can't be abuse, when you're putting your hands on me, but it's abuse if I do the same. We can't even restrain them. You restrain them and they get hurt. That's abuse on your part. But I'm trying to stop her from hitting me. You know,
Right.
But
Well,
we
it's
gotta
such a
we gotta be
but Gene, along those same lines, sometimes the women will grab something that is, a man, if he's gonna fight, he's generally gonna fight fist to fist. He might grab a gun or a knife or something, but he's just gonna go hand to hand combat and all on those lines. But sometimes, the woman, because she is thinking, and I don't always think that this is the case, because I know some women that are as strong, if not stronger, than some men that I know and
Mhm.
everything, but she might feel that she's the weaker sex, and she might grab a chair or an iron or whatever else she wants to get, and then you really got a problem because then you got to try to restrain and not get hit by that ironing pan, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. No,
oh
I've
yeah.
been in that situation before. Now that what you're talking about, where I'm thinking now of two different situations, and one was I love what Mom just said. Abuse is abuse. Period.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter who it's coming from. But like I was out on a date, and with my people, I had spent dropped down some money at a place here in Kansas City to watch a show. Got front row seats and bottle service for a group of people and us. And um, my girl, in a jealous rage, yanks off my chain. Had this nice cross chain, yanked off my chain, slapped me in my face, and for nothing, just because she was just being crazy, being jealous. And man, it took everything in me not to slap the taste out of her mouth. Being a man and being slapped in public on the front row, everybody being able to see that. Um, and then to have to even restrain my female friends that were there. I honor you, bruh, that you're not gonna put your hands on her, but let me put
I
my
am.
hands on her. And I
But
had to still say, no, no, we'll handle this in private because this is our issue. We'll handle this in
right.
private and leave it at that.
But wasn't that all three forms could borrow from Stephanie's words there and everything of psycho and everything? But wasn't that three forms of abuse wrapped into one? Because that sounded to me like emotional, mental, and physical
Yeah.
abuse. That sounds like
And
all three
physical,
of
yeah.
them when you described it. I feel like that sounds like emotional, physical, and
Well,
mental abuse.
I was still traumatized. That's why I had to tell the story. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, oh, did that just
Yeah.
happen? Did that just happen to me?
Yeah.
But that's real talk, man.
Emotional. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Emotional immaturity runs rampant. Like, and I was watching something. I don't know what show it was. It's like people grow up, people get older or become adults. From children they become adults. A lot of people don't grow up.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Like a lot of people's emotional maturity is like at the age of 10, 12. You know what I mean? Stuck up in there somewhere, still playing with Legos in their mind, but they're 40 something, 50 something, 60 something. Playing childish games. Like, man, let's be mature. Let's do what works for everybody, not just you.
Right.
And
Man, that's a hard one though, because Mark, as you were saying, devil's advocate, that is the posture that society and most people are going to view. You the man, you the strong one. How can you be abused, especially sexually?
Right.
And it happens all the time. There's power plays by women, just like there are
oh yeah,
men.
Mhm.
Because
right,
the women are in the boardrooms now.
Right.
right.
And it's not the men that are saying, "Hey, you want the promotion? I need you to drop your draws." It's the women are saying that. They're running the
Hmm.
power plays now. So
Right.
it goes both ways.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you just said, if there is control elements that are involved in it, so they are able to get you to do something. So even though there are parts of the sexual relationships that are both mental and physical and everything that you may not be able to do, they can get you to satisfy in other ways that may make them feel satisfied in that power play, even if you can't get other parts done and everything. So yeah, they can do emotional torture and get you to do something that you might not want to do, even if you're not able to quote unquote totally complete the act.
Right. Right.
Yeah, emotional manipulation. They're great at
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, about to get me started. Where they throw out phishing statements. Instead of just saying what they want to say, they
Right.
throw out,
Oh,
and then they're trying to get you
God.
to bite, and then when you don't, then you don't care, or you don't love, or you don't
Right.
appreciate, or you don't understand. And I'm like, no, I just choose not to play this dumb game.
Exactly.
Coach, you talk about fishing statements. It made me think of another ex, and I remember that they used to love taking me by when we were dating and everything, the diamond stores and everything, as if to drop that little hint, even though we hadn't even got that far into the relationship. That was part of the conversation, but they would like, we'd go to a mall or something that had a one of those jewelry stores, and they would all of a sudden mysteriously make a veer to that store and everything. But another play that I just thought about, and I'm really going to be candid and everything, is sometimes they can also claim property, because I know that even to this day, I think that might have been that same young lady and everything, that she is not seen favorably in my family, because when she came to my mom's house, she was already one time in the house talking to me and mom and going like, yeah, me and Mark gonna be living in this house at some point or another and everything. So she was already
What?
laying claim on the house, even though we hadn't even laid claim into the relationship yet. So needless to say, that is not one of mom's favorite, one of my exes and everything. Because mom was in there
Yeah,
going like,
I
wait a minute,
understand.
you were gonna say that while I'm in this house, that y'all gonna be having this house at some point or another. And I mean, mom was even much younger than she is now, so mom was probably in her, I won't say 60s at that time, but I'm going like about my age. I'm going like, no, that's real bold.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet on that one because
yeah. I'm glad you left. Let her exit stage left.
She
Because
totally did.
woo, my goodness.
wow, that's
Yeah.
deep. Man, we're probably gonna have to have part two on relationship trauma because, I mean, 4 and 5 are heavy hitters, man.
Yeah.
4 and 5, and I'll just maybe add. Are you okay with that? We continue this
Yeah, you can continue
Yeah.
with
next
it.
week. 4 is divorce and separation. Man, we can talk a
Woo.
whole show on that one.
All day about
And
that. Yeah.
then following that up is parental alienation.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I
I
mean,
mean, that's
those
a show in
two,
itself right there.
both
But
both of them are.
No,
right.
actually, divorce is a whole show, because you were thinking
Yeah.
about that, and I think I mentioned this to you before. Divorce is impacts you, and it impacts you depending on your age. Because, like I said, dad has been with his current lady love longer than he was with mom. But when he was with mom, so that was probably about 21, 22 years and everything. At the time that they got divorced, my younger brother was in school, like grade school. I was in college. So that ought to tell you that it was a different reaction.
Mhm.
So I'm away from the situation. So I have a one reaction, whereas I'm sure my younger brother had another reaction because he was literally in the middle of it.
Mhm.
Right.
It's
Right.
like how that happens. Because you might be, you're doing divorce, you might be engaged because you're there with the family when it takes place. So you're being part of that juggling act and everything. And then, like in my case, I find out about it after the fact because I'm out of the building.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Man.
I think we'll have to do part two. And I was thinking of adding a sixth point, but man, we could fill a whole show just on point 4 and 5.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
maybe not even touch that, and we just go with those. And this was hard enough to get through 1 through 3. Betrayal and
Right.
identity, emotional and verbal abuse, in, intimate partner violence. I mean, those have been hard to speak into and talk about. But man, I don't know about you. 4 and 5.
Yeah. 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 Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for
And I
Gene,
want to say, I want to say live on air, happy 14th birthday, Gianna. I love you, baby.
Yeah,
oh, your child,
yeah.
your 14th birthday, happy birthday to her and
Happy
everything.
birthday, baby girl. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, happy birthday. Definitely she
Yeah,
deserves that birthday
yeah.
wishes and everything, no doubt about it. Hey, Gene,
What
the
was
other
her
thing
name
about
again?
divorce and that,
Say her name
Gianna.
again. Gianna.
Gianna.
Gianna, I don't even know you yet. And I say yet because I'm believing in the future that I will meet you. But, sweetheart, one thing I can tell you is I know that your father loves you. I know that your father loves you with every fiber of his being. And when he talks about you, he lights up and he glows. So, Honey, don't believe all the lies. Don't believe all the lies.
Yeah.
Your father loves you. He adores you.
I can second that because
Absolutely.
I can see it even when he talks about her on a regular basis. He has a
Yeah.
great deal of admiration and love in his heart and wishes to be even engaged as much as possible. So anybody that's trying to say that you are not loved by your father is totally being fed a line of bull. I'll just put it that way, a total line
Right.
of bull. Because
Right.
definitely there's no doubt that Gene has a great deal of respect for his daughter and has got great aspirations for her future and all along those
Hmm.
lines. But he definitely loves the daughter that he brought into this world and all in that space and everything. So yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
got to agree with what Coach G said that you are definitely a lover of that daughter. I've heard you mention her a couple of times, not just on this show, but some other shows as well. So I do know you've got a
Hmm.
great deal of respect for your daughter and have a great deal of love in your heart for her in all in that space. I know we're wrapping up, but speaking of divorce and everything along those lines, I did have to teach you because when we get to the divorce section, one of the things that people forget about is that the part of our family that is not always called about and everything, because that whole our animals and our pets are part of the divorce as well. So sometimes that whole custody issue, even with that, can be a big battle as well. And maybe we'll touch on that because sometimes
Yeah.
people want to
Yeah.
have
That's all
their
part of it.
critters
Yeah.
go with them, and sometimes that whole dividing of the time can be
Yeah.
something that's part of that conversation as well.
Mark, that's
Yeah.
point number 5, parental alienation.
Hmm.
So yeah, that those two are painful.
Hmm.
Painful.
Oh yeah.
For me, even probably
Devastating.
more painful than 1 through 3.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Definitely.
I can see that for sure.
but we can't leave on a heavy note because I'm feeling the energy in the room. Um, we are survivors. We are men, and we are warriors. And yes, we get knocked down, but we always get back up. I mean, the Bible says 7 times 70. Should you forgive and get back up? So, man, we are here, and I know some of you, many of you, if not most of you, relate to 1 through 3, and you're probably chomping at the bit for 4 and 5. But we're inviting you to come back next week. Relationship trauma part 2, part duh.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get real with you, and we're gonna really share um, intimately. I know Gene's got a story. I got stories on that. Mark's got stories. And I'll be ready for stats on stuff like that too. So, because this is real. This is real deal. There's men out there
Oh
that
yeah.
are hurting, that men are dying because they can't see their kids. They can't be connected
Yeah.
to their kids because divorce is a ripping. Man, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's next week. I'm gonna
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah.
I'm
Let's
gonna
save
shut
it.
up.
Let's save it. Let's save it.
Save it.
Let's save it. So yeah. So all of these things are tough, but understand that you are strong.
Yeah.
You have a community here,
Mm-hmm.
and find if you don't have a community in your everyday life and support system, find you one.
Right.
Find a group of people who will constantly keep your head up, will also keep you in check, and keep you inspired. Um, there's nothing that happens in your life that's not meant to make you better. So if
Mm-hmm.
you can step back, and I'm talking to myself when I say this, if you can step back and look at it from the observer's standpoint, you'll realize that this is actually has made you better and will continue to make you better. So stay strong, stay focused. You got this. We're here for you. Peace and love.
Yeah. Good word, man. Well, it's your boy, Coach G. I'm out, man.
And on that note, we get out here with this lovely song that Gene did, and he got some new ones coming out shortly. But this one is reflecting on that whole notion of standing up. So definitely, that's
Right.
something that he's all
Yeah.
about, and everything. So we get out of here with this lovely song. It is our unofficial theme song, or actually, I could say the official theme song, and all along those lines. So definitely, we're going to get out of here with this and get on out of here with this amazing music. And like I said, I'm waiting for the new one, which I understand is on the way. So I'm looking forward to
On
hearing
the
it soon.
way.
Cool. Let's
All
get on
right.
out of here.
Peace and love.
Yeah, yeah, took another life. Gunshots ring out, even though he had his hands held high. Yo, I'm sick and tired to walk my brother's short lines. Need to come together, set a plan, and then mobilize. Oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about all the hell that we're going through? Now stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel, undefeated. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all, we can do this, you and me. Monsanto monopolized the whole grocery line. So we all gon' have 12 toes, 3 thumbs, 3 lives. If we keep being sheep, these wolves are gon' rob us blind. Let's occupy our mind space, cause the revolution won't be televised. Oh, what are we gon' do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about all the hell that we're going through? Now stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel, undefeated. Stand up, y'all, we can do this, you and me. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up, y'all, we can do this, you and me. Oh, mercy, mercy me. The government should nurture your family. When will all these wars be done? Hopefully before the government gonna have the money. Yeah. Before another mother has one person. Shout out into the walls of Babel, undefeated. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all, we can do this, you and me. Stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel, undefeated. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow.